In just 4 seconds, everything changed for him. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But in a way so quiet that nobody even noticed the moment his life started falling apart. He stood there in pain, hoping someone would see him, hoping someone would care. But people walked past him like he didn't even exist. And that silence hurt more than the pain itself. Before we continue this emotional story, if you believe in the power of kindness, make sure to subscribe to Kindness Story Hub, like this video, and comment below where you're watching from. Your support helps spread real stories that can change hearts and inspire kindness around the world. It was a cold morning in a small town in Ohio. The sky was gray, the kind of gray that makes everything feel heavier than it really is. People were rushing to work, holding their coffee cups tightly, trying to stay warm, trying to stay on schedule. Among them was a man named Daniel. Daniel was in his early 40s. He wasn't someone people noticed easily. He wore an old jacket, slightly torn at the sleeves, and shoes that had seen better days. But what people didn't know was that Daniel wasn't always like this. Years ago, he had a stable job, a small apartment, and dreams like everyone else. But life had taken unexpected turns. A workplace injury, followed by medical bills, then job loss, and slowly, everything slipped away. That morning, Daniel wasn't just cold. He was in pain. A sharp pain in his leg that had been getting worse for days. He had fallen earlier on the icy sidewalk, but he forced himself to stand up and keep walking. He had no choice. He needed help. He needed someone to listen. But the world around him was too busy. People walked past him. Some looked at him for a second, then looked away. A few even stepped aside as if his presence was something uncomfortable. Daniel stood near a bus stop bench, trying to steady himself. His face was pale. His breathing was uneven. He wanted to ask for help, but the words didn't come out. A young woman stood nearby, scrolling through her phone. She glanced at him once, then turned away. A man in a suit adjusted his earphones and walked right past him without stopping. Daniel's vision blurred for a moment. He held onto a pole to keep himself from falling. Still, nobody stopped. It was as if his pain was invisible. And that was the moment that broke something inside him, not just his body, but his hope. Minutes passed. Maybe 10. Maybe more. Time felt strange when you're in pain and alone. Daniel slowly slid down onto the edge of the sidewalk. His strength was fading. People still passed by. A bus arrived. People got on. Doors closed. The world kept moving. And Daniel stayed there, ignored completely. But then something unexpected happened. A small voice broke through the noise of the city. "Sir, are you okay?" Daniel looked up slowly. Standing in front of him was a boy. Maybe 10 or 11 years old. He was holding a backpack that looked too big for his small frame. Behind him was his mother, watching carefully. The boy stepped closer. "You don't look okay," he said softly. Daniel tried to smile, but it came out weak. "I'm fine," he whispered automatically. That was what people like him always said. But the boy didn't believe it. He turned back to his mother. "Mom, he needs help." The mother hesitated for a moment. Like many others, she had probably been in a rush too. But something in her shifted when she looked at Daniel's face. She walked over. "Can you stand?" she asked gently. Daniel tried, but his leg gave out slightly. He shook his head. Without another word, she pulled out her phone and called for medical help. The boy stayed beside Daniel the entire time. Not scrolling. Not distracted. Just present. Like Daniel mattered. That simple presence started to change everything. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. Not because of pain anymore, but because after so long, someone finally saw him. When the ambulance arrived, the paramedics quickly checked him. Severe strain. Possible complications from an old injury made worse by the fall. If he had waited much longer, it could have been dangerous. As they helped him onto the stretcher, Daniel looked at the boy one last time. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. "Ethan," the boy said with a small smile. Daniel nodded slowly. "Thank you, Ethan." The boy shrugged like it was nothing. "My mom says we should help people when they need it." Simple words. But they carried something powerful. The ambulance doors closed, and Daniel was taken away. Days later, Daniel woke up in the hospital. The pain was still there, but it was better. More importantly, he was alive and safe. A social worker visited him and helped him start the process of getting temporary shelter and medical support. It wasn't easy. Life didn't magically fix itself. But something inside Daniel had changed. He kept thinking about that moment at the bus stop. Dozens of people ignored him. Dozens walked past his pain. But one child stopped. Just one. And that was enough to save him. A few weeks later, Daniel decided to visit the same bus stop again. Not because he had to, but because he needed to see it with different eyes. The morning was similar. Busy. Cold. People rushing. But this time, Daniel noticed everything differently. He saw how easy it was to look away. How easy it was to assume someone else would help. How easy it was to ignore pain that didn't belong to you. And he understood something deeply. Most people aren't cruel. They're just distracted. But distraction can still hurt someone. As Daniel stood there, he saw a man sitting on the ground nearby. He looked tired. Unsteady. Alone. People were walking past him, just like they had once walked past Daniel. For a moment, Daniel hesitated. Then he walked over. "Hey," he said gently. "Are you okay?" The man looked up, surprised. I just need a minute." Daniel nodded and sat beside him. "I've been there," he said softly. "You're not alone." And in that moment, something beautiful happened. The same kindness that once saved Daniel was now being passed forward. Life doesn't always give loud warnings when someone is struggling. Sometimes pain looks quiet. Sometimes it looks like someone sitting still. Sometimes it looks like someone trying to hide it. But kindness doesn't need perfect timing. It just needs awareness. Because ignoring pain doesn't make it disappear. But noticing it can change everything. Daniel's story is not just about suffering. It's about how close we all are to being the person who either walks past or stops. And sometimes, stopping for just a few seconds can save a life. So the next time you see someone who looks like they're struggling, don't assume someone else will help. Don't assume it's not your responsibility. Because kindness is never wasted. And you never know, your small moment of care might be the reason someone gets another chance at life. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone today. Because the world doesn't just need more people. It needs more people who notice. And always remember. Sometimes the greatest act of kindness is simply refusing to look away.